Asked a girl what she wanted to be. She said, baby, can't you see? I wanna be famous, the star of the swing, but you can do something in between. Yeah, baby, you can drive my car. Yes, I'm gonna be a star. Baby, you can drive my car. And baby, I love you, car, 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 car. Cool, and baby, I love you. Welcome to this installment. Keep making this error. Of Git Gud Songwriting. So happy to see you here. We're about to talk about a song called Drive My Car. It's a song by the Beatles. It is a song that starts out in D major, and I just learned something about it playing the chorus just now. We're gonna harmonically analyze what's going on here in the chord progression, especially. And I just got really distracted looking at my stream screen over here. I'm going to turn that off. There we go. I'm going to turn off the comments for YouTube. There we go. And so it's a song that starts out in D major. I'm not going to talk about the vocal harmonies. They are pretty interesting as well. Asked a girl what she wanted to be. She said, baby, can't you see? I'm just going to talk about the chords for now. And what's basically going on here is that we're in D major. You guessed it, we start on the one chord, and it is a D major. That is the key of D major is the key we're in, and the first chord also happens to be a D major, which is the one chord of the key of D major. And then we get the 4 chord. But we don't just get the 1 and 4 chord. In typical Beatles fashion, we get a little bit of a spicier version of this. This comes from rock music, like rock and roll from way back in the day when people used to take major chords and just put 7s on them all the time. Just because you can. And it sounds more spicy and has a bit more of a punch. I'll play it to you both ways and you can see what I'm talking about. I'll leave the 7th out for now and then I'll bring them back in and you can see the difference that it makes. Asked a girl what she wanted to be. Actually, it doesn't work with the melody because the melody does the 7 in the G chord. So I'm going to leave out the melody and just play the chords. And with the 7s. Just a very typical rock and roll blues thing to do. It's you can hear it in all kinds of different songs they use the blues for. Like, I write a little letter gonna mail it to my local DJ. It's a rockin' little record I want my jockey to play. Roll over Beethoven, gotta hit it again today. You know my temperature's rising and the jukebox blows a fuse. Heart's making rhythm and my soul keeps on. It's this kind of sound. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, baby. Hey, baby. Ooh, my girl. You know you're not found. Very important to always, so in these kinds of songs, you always get the 1 and the 4 and the 5 chord in the blues form. And just smack a dominant 7 on each one of them and you got a good old rock and roll kind of sound. Anyway, back to the topic, which is Drive My Car by the Beatles. Almost forgot. It uses just the 1 and the 4 chord in the verse. It doesn't, actually no, sorry. It goes to the 5 chord at the end. And you can do something in between. And very interestingly, has a flat 13 in the melody. See, the Beatles used to do this kind of spicy, frickin' jazzy chord thing all the frickin' time. And they slipped it right under everybody's radar. That's what makes them such a great band. They are the kings of the accessibility and complexity balance. In other words, writing songs that sound very simple and catchy and fun and accessible and immediately memorable, immediately singable, you know. But underneath the surface is a complexity that lends the songs, even if they sound simple, it lends them a little bit more sophistication, which I definitely believe is picked up by the listener subconsciously, even if you don't know what a flat 13 is, if you don't have to know the theoretical concepts to still, for your inner ear, still to kind of get that there's like some kind of depth and sophistication to this music that you don't quite understand. And I believe that that is incredibly important because it keeps the listener on their toes in a way. It doesn't just give them what they expect unconsciously. I mean, what you'd normally expect from a pop song is a 1, 5, 6, 4, just triads. But the Beatles kept playing around with more exciting and fun and complex theoretical concepts than that in their music. And nobody really knows about this as an average listener. Nobody is able, again, to point out that there's a flat 13 going on. You can do something in between. But you still register it. You still notice it and go, wow, this is, subconsciously you go, this music has a, you know, it's to be respected, you know, it's quality stuff is what I'm trying to say. And at the same time, it's super fun and entertaining, which is what pop music obviously should be all about. That's why it's called popular music, because it's entertaining, because people find it fun to listen to. Where was I? No, back to the song. So we got a D7, we got a G7, and then we got an A7. We got a asked a girl what she wanted to be. She said, baby, can't you see? Wanna be famous, the star of the screen, but you can do something in between. You can do something in between. So basically a 1, 4, 5 in D major with some spicing, and especially this flat 13 on the A7 chord. Really like that one because that is unexpected and very surprisingly complex. And then from this A7 chord, instead of going back to a D major, which is what you'd expect from an A7 chord, you'd expect an A7 chord to lead you back to a D major, because dominant 7th chords or 5 chords in their key usually resolve back to the 1, or usually isn't really the right term, but that's what our ears expect them to do. And that's why this is an example of what's called a deceptive cadence. That's any dominant 7th chord that resolves somewhere other than its respective 1 chord. It goes up to the 6 minor chord instead. And then the chorus rolls around, and the chorus does this really fun 1 minor thing. If we're now considering this to be a modulation to B minor, if we're in D major, then B minor is the 6 minor chord. But if we're now considering B minor as the center point, in other words, if we see this as a modulation to the key of B minor, which is the relative minor of D major, very related, then this is the 1 minor chord, and then we get the 6 chord, or the flat 6 chord, which is G major. Except the unexpected and cool thing about this G chord is that it has, again, a dominant 7th on it. And listen to how much more delicious it sounds with the dominant 7th as opposed to without it. So I'll play it without the dominant 7, and then I'll play it with the dominant 7. And just check it out. Baby, you can drive my car. Yes, I'm gonna be a star. Again, I need to do it without the melody, because the melody follows the harmony there and does the minor 7 in the G chord. So check it out without the melody this time. You can drive my car, baby, you can drive my car. Or I'll hit the major 7 instead, actually. So check it out. Baby, you can drive my car. Yes, I'm gonna be a star. Baby, you can drive my car. Do you hear how insanely different the character of that is. Baby, you can drive my car versus baby, you can drive my car. Baby, you can drive my car. Baby, you can drive my car. This one's way cooler in my opinion because, I mean, it's different first and foremost. Doesn't necessarily need to be better or worse, but I find it better because it introduces this blue note in the B minor pentatonic scale. And thus keeps the harmony and melody moving a little bit more. Here you have a repetition of an F sharp note. F sharp, B, F sharp versus F sharp, D, F natural. Just kind of puts a little more motion into it if we don't get the same note repeated again and again and again, but instead have it change to a different one. It's exchanging an F sharp for an F natural. So listen to it again with that in mind. Baby, you can drive my car. Baby, you can drive my car versus drive my car. It doesn't go quite as high the second time, and the contour of the melody kind of generally keeps moving down that way. And then, yes, I'm gonna be a star. Baby, you can drive my car. And baby, I love you. And I want to comment on this car because it's genius. Because, like, I just found out at the beginning of this stream, actually, I hadn't analyzed this beforehand. But here we have an E7 chord, B minor 7, flat 6, and then very cool chord progression on its own, but it doesn't stop there. Baby, you can drive my car. Baby, you can drive my car. They again go to the F natural, but in this, when the E chord hits, the F natural is the flat 9 on the E7 chord here. Baby, you can drive my car. Baby, you can drive my car. So you got this really spicy interval happening here between the root and the flat 9 of this E7 chord. That is I don't think I've ever seen that anywhere else, actually. I'm blowing my own mind as I'm analyzing this song. So basically, we had the 1 minor, we had the 6, and then we have a kind of a secondary dominant for the flat 7, which then goes back to the 1, the relative major. Which is pretty vanilla. You can also analyze this E7 chord as the borrowed chord from D. If I'm not saying any nonsense. What's the English word again? From B. Dorian is the word. Or D. Lydian, same thing. But in this context, I'd really analyze it as the secondary dominant for this A7 chord. In either case, this E7 chord, because we're in the key of B minor, right? Which has a G natural in it. And there's one out of scale note in this E7 chord, which is the G sharp. So that's why we gotta analyze it as some kind of out of scale chord here. Car, and this flat 9 just hits so hard because it's an F natural. It's the minor third of the key that we're in D major, or the flat 5 if we're in B minor. So cool. Baby. So I'm gonna play it to you more diatonically. First time, I'm gonna turn the E7 into an E minor 7, and this G7 into a G major 7. And then I'm gonna play it to you the way it actually is, and you can decide which way you like it better. Baby, you can drive my car. Yes, I'm gonna be a star. Baby, you can drive my car. Baby, I love you. Again. Baby, you can drive my car. Yes, I'm gonna be a star. Baby, you can drive my car. And baby, I love you. And now the way the Beatles actually wrote it. Baby, you can drive my car. Yes, I'm gonna be a star. Baby, you can drive my car. And baby, I love you. Baby, you can drive my car. Yes, I'm gonna be a star. Baby, you can drive my car. And baby, I love you. So that's it for today's episode. This is all about knowing your theory, guys. It's just so important. If you're a songwriter who doesn't have the first idea about music theory, then please reach out and I will help you with my free resources or with one-on-one lessons or with my paid resources. Whatever your budget is, whatever your schedule is, we'll figure something out that works for you, because we need to get your beautiful music even more beautiful with the power of music theory. That's what I'm really passionate about. That's what I show up on social media for. So reach out if you want help with music theory. Comment yes on this post if you're watching the replay, and I'll shoot you the links for, well, whatever it is that you need to take the next step in your songwriting practice. All right, guys. See you next week.